You are now watching Zach Lesage, the best place to learn about competitive Pokemon TCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, Zach Lesage here. Yo, we are going to be going over the top 5 decks in the Fusion Strike metagame. Now, we haven't had a lot of tournament results for this metagame yet, and there are some decks that have been moving up quickly, such as the new Stage 2 Obstagoon deck. But these are the top 5 that I think are a very safe bet during the week 1 of Fusion Strike being released. I was actually able to play in the late night series number 2 events, so kind of a side series ran by me that I play on Fridays kind of sometimes out of nowhere. I had another judge for what it's worth, and I was able to win with Gengar VMAX. So we have some early results here. This is literally like Friday night as of Fusion Strike being released, so we have some really early results, and I'm going to be including those results in this video. So it's a combination of my player intuition as a top player in the game and from some tournament results that we've had on Limitless. So let's see what our number 5 spot is. Starting off with our number 5 pick, we have Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. Now, this is a deck that has fallen pretty low in our top 10 on a regular week that in our Evolving Skies metagame, but I think that Latias and Latios breathe new life into this deck. So the reason why this deck is number 5 is because of the abilities on Latios and Latias. If you have one of each out, or at least one of each out, you could attach an extra psychic energy from your hand to each of them per turn. So very similar to the Galarian Articuno that we've seen in other builds, these decks can do that throughout the entire game, so they can kind of hold on to energies and play them through Path to the Peak, stuff like that. Of course, you also have Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX using its Underworld Door ability, building up a bunch of energies, and you can hit hard for max Geist, a lot of damage. With 11 energies in play, you are hitting for 340 damage with max Geist, and that's enough to knock out pretty much anything in the game. I really don't see what you're not knocking out. Getting all those extra energies is also great for Alcremie VMAX using G-Max Whisk, so you have a lot of ways to accelerate energies and kind of discharge those energies at the same time. So it's really that quick beat 'em up deck, and I think Shadow Rider is as good as it's always been, and this is really that huge, like I said, breath of life back into this deck to give it a chance at being tier 1 or upper echelon tier 1. Now, all these lists are in the description, and for most of them, I do have a reference video of some sort to show you exactly what's going on. I did focus on the new Fusion Strike decks first, but it is one of those things where check out the pin comment, not the description, the pin comment, to see what all these decks can do. But I think Shadow Rider is going to have a chance to shine again, maybe with Gengar VMAX being up there, or if Mew VMAX is popular, we're going to see some Dark decks come back. But this deck was always losing to Dark decks, so let's be real, I think Shadow Rider has a real chance at making it in this metagame. Hopping into our number 4 spot, we have Dragapult VMAX. Dragapult VMAX has largely been the most successful deck in our Evolving Skies metagame, and quite often held the number 1 spot for weeks at the end, till the very end where Single Strike just took a massive leap. But if there was any deck that really remained at the top, it was always Dragapult VMAX. The deck always uses Max Phantom to kind of do these careful damage counter placements to get these multi-prize card turns of quick shooting and Zigzagoon and all that stuff. And on top of that, it has that mid-range control element with cards like Fan of Waves. Some lists play Crushing Hammer, Tool Jammer, Path to the Peak, even Horror Psychic Energy, Marnie. There's a lot of really cool cards here. The reason why this deck is spiked up, or the reason why it's still viable, is because it's always good. Of course, there's Gengar VMAX, but Gengar VMAX basically replaces Single Strike, and I mean, it's the same kind of matchup for what it's worth. They could have always attacked with Umbreon, and it doesn't matter if they have Gengar VMAX for the most part. Sydney is the new card that we've added into this deck. You could look at your opponent's hands as a supporter card, choose a combination of 2 Special Energy, Pokemon Tool, and Stadium cards, and rip them out of your opponent's hands. So there's cool plays where you might put a Path to the Peak in play, rip away their counter Stadium, and rip away a Special Energy, leaving your opponent defenseless in the moment. So I think it's one of those things where Dragapult, with these cute little techs here or there, really it's more or less the same kind of deck, but I think Sydney's a cute tech in the deck right now. Will it end up staying throughout the entirety? We'll have to see how that plays out, but right now I think Dragapult VMAX is still an excellent choice in this metagame. Of course, with all these Psychic type decks seeing success, and I mean, no surprise, Mew VMAX might be in this top 5 list. Dark decks might be a little bit of a surge. We'll have to see how the metagame goes, but these are really a lot of my early predictions and early tournament results. Here we are at number 3 already. We got Mew VMAX. Now, Mew VMAX is one of the new decks on the block, and I think there's a reason why I like it up here so quickly, is just because it is very powerful and it reminds me of Turbo Zacian. Not in terms of the price point, because this is a very expensive deck to build in real life or online. Hey, if you want a discount, you could use code Lesage5 to save 5% on your next order at PTCGO That's in the description there. If you want to copy and paste that into your browser, you can totally pick up some codes and support me as a content creator. Mew VMAX has its Cross Fusion Strike, which can copy any Fusion Strike Pokemon on your bench. So that's Mew V, Genesect V, Toxel, Toxtricity, Latias. I'm still debating on if I like the Toxtricity package. The maximum downer seems pretty cool, and maybe I'd even want to go for like an extra 1-1 or even a 4-4 line just to get that maximum downer off. Latias seems like a great attacker, especially to block your opponent's damage from their Pokemon VMAX, and of course Genesect VMAX has its Techno Blast that's swinging hard. It's swinging extra hard with those power tablets that work similar to Electro Power of the past, adding 30 damage at a time. So this seems like a very vicious version of Pika Rom mixed with Turbo Zacian, big beat 'em up deck with Peony to really search out whatever you're looking for. Again, this is a list that I think is going to be evolving over the course of the metagame, but out of all the Mew VMAX lists that I've played with and tested, this one seems to be doing very well so far for me. And I actually just recently posted a video up on the channel that fully shows you how broken this deck is. I think it's absolutely filthy busted. It's not like when Rayquaza VMAX came out in Evolving Skies and I thought it was going to be busted. This deck I think is actually really good. Might not be worth it for everyone to invest the packs in, but if you got the packs, I think Mew VMAX is closer to the real deal than not. Here we are at the number 2 spot, and as I put this at the number 2 spot, I think Gengar VMAX might be better than what I actually think it is. Like I said, I was able to win the late night number 2 events. So those are events that I just do that are not part of the main late night series events. If anyone's wondering what we're talking about, usually a bit of a smaller play cap and more like a late night on a Friday, like super late, like midnight Eastern time. So I just do those to get a chance to play around, because there's not really any tournaments that are worthwhile to play in at this point. A lot of them are smaller events or just incompatible times for me. So I'm like, you wanna know what? Let's run tournaments for the community. On a later one, I'll find someone else to judge, and I can play in some of those events. I was able to win with Gengar VMAX, and this deck is great because Fear and Panic for 2 energies can do a lot of damage. Very similar to Single Strike Urshifu VMAX. I think this deck ends up using less energies, and since you're the full dark package, you gain cute things such as Hiding Darkness energy and a few other spaces. I still included a Single Strike Urshifu V to deal with Eternatus VMAX, Gengar VMAX Mirror, Jolteon VMAX, and I think that it just ends up working, and of course Umbreon is an efficient attacker and can gust things up. This is the type of deck that I think is very close to being good, and the Vitality Bands, shout out to PJ from the Shuffle Squad for selling me on these. It does allow you to OHKO and Inteleon VMAX a little bit easier, so I think that overall the whole idea of this list and how powerful it is seems to really work well and resonate with our metagame. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw this deck moving up a little bit, because Gengar VMAX just seems to make things a little bit better, and just hitting those numbers seems really good. So this is my favorite version of Play the Deck. Let me know what you think about this deck, or if you think Single Strike is very good. Fun fact, throughout the tournament and even the videos that I filmed for this, I've been able to beat the Single Strike Urshifu VMAX deck by carefully playing Pokemon in a proper order and giving up certain prize cards and stuff like that. So maybe even Single Strike Urshifu VMAX cannot keep up with the speed of this deck. Keep that in mind. And again, all of these decks and reference videos are going to be in the pinned comment below in the comment section, so be sure to check those out. Here we are, we made it to my number 1 pick for the best Fusion Strike deck, or the deck in the Fusion Strike format, and it's Inteleon VMAX. The reason why I think this deck is good is because we see how popular decks like Dragapult VMAX and Jolteon VMAX have been with their damage spreading multi-prize card turn possibilities, with things such as quick shooting Inteleon, Zigzagoons, and here we have Inteleon VMAX. It has the quick shooting, has all that stuff. It has the double gunner ability, so you could pitch a basic water from your hands and hit 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon for 2 damage counters each. That really adds up out over the game with Training Quartz, energy retrieval, Capacious Bucket naturally drawing into them, etc, etc. It's awesome. Its attack, well, it's just only attack, does 70 damage, and if you lift an energy back from your hand, it does an additional 70, so 140. It's a Rapid Strike Pokemon, so it works with Rapid Strike energy, which means you do 140, lift the Rapid Strike energy back. That has crazy good synergy with Cheryl, which allows you to heal all that damage off, so if your opponent's unable to knock out a 320 HP Pokemon, not many Pokemon can, very few on this list possibly can, and maybe you'll notice that the decks that are on this list are very close to hitting that number, because if they're not getting an OHKO, you play Cheryl, drop another Rapid Strike energy, and say, cool, you wasted your turn, I'm gonna add some more damage to you, double gunner, the damage adds up, your damage output is very strong with this deck. I think that all of the different cards and the whole Rapid Strike theme and Octillery can search at everything and the Keep Calling Sobble, this deck is very tightly knit and seems very, very, very well put together, and the strategy seems super sound. So these are the type of things that I'm looking for in early deck lists to see if they're good. Inteleon VMAX to me seems like the best deck to just go forward with, or the most safe top deck to just play with. It seems like there's no way that this deck is going to fall out of the top 5, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to necessarily fall out of the top 10 at the very least, and it seems very well constructed from the beginning, so be sure to give it a try. Again, I have some tabletop gameplay and some footage with this deck, so be sure to check it out on my channel so you can learn more about these new Fusion Strike decks. Will it be number 1 next week? We'll find out. I'll do a full top 10 video on my channel on Monday, just to get back into it. Fusion Strike release made it a little bit difficult, peeps, and every single Friday on the Shuffle Squad, I do the best 5 decks heading into the weekend, so we'll do the top 5 then. So stay tuned for both of those videos, and a bunch of other great content coming from me. Well, that's what we got going on for this video today, peeps. Hopefully you enjoyed learning more about these decks. Are these the decks that you expected? There's a lot of decks that I feel could have gone in those number 4 and number 5 spots. Maybe Turbo Genesect V, maybe the new Obstagoon deck, maybe we could have seen Jolteon VMAX. There was a whole bunch of decks that I talked about, and I talked a lot with my close teammates and friends and other top players. It's really where we got to with this list right now, and it feels pretty good. Again, maybe decks like Shadow Rider are not necessarily going to see the love that they get because players are going to be testing new decks, but I highly recommend that you test out all the decks on this list because they seem like a solid way to start off the Fusion Strike metagame. If you need to know anything else about this stuff, feel free to reach out to me and let me know in the comments below. Let's spark a discussion. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button right there. That being said, it's like almost 5 o'clock in the morning, going into Saturday morning right now. I probably don't look as tired as I am, but I'm going to quickly edit this one, get it ready for everyone, and I'm heading out on a weekend trip, so I will catch up with all y'all later, but enjoy all the content I've pre-recorded on this channel. I have so much great Fusion Strike content for all of you, and I have a full week planned of amazing Fusion Strike content, so stay tuned for all of that. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great one, and peace out. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me. And my goal with this channel is to spread my love of the game and knowledge with our entire Pokemon TCG community. If you haven't already, help signal boost this video to other Pokemon TCG fans by liking it, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Hopefully we reach our goals really soon. Check out this recommended video, and have yourself a great day. Thanks.